SummerSlam is over and done with. That's right. Two nights, two nights that they did it. They did it, and I was like, we made it. We didn't get tired out. They hit the nails on the head that they felt like they was sort of needing to. I was like, anyway, let's just get down on into it. I was like, look, we're just gonna do some run down some thoughts. I was like, listen, ain't nobody reviewing any of the match, nothing like that, go in detail, chop it up. Anyway, let's get on with it. First of all, night two was way better than night one. I thought night one was actually I thought it was good. I thought it was solid. I didn't think it was like a dud or nothing like that. And I know everything got saved or whatever, but I thought it was good. I was like, night two had went off with a bang, and I was like, the thing is that depending on how you looked at it, at the end of everything, or how you want to leave, where you want to look at the end of matches, the end of the whole day, the end of the two-a-day event, however you leave, is sort of how you sort of feel about the whole thing. So anyway, some thoughts, just a couple rundowns. One, I was like the Roman J, Braun, and Bronson thing. I was just like it was a cool match and stuff like that. Hot tag waiting for Jay to get to Roman and stuff like that. Seeing if he gonna yeet, no yeeting happen. It was like a cool, solid match. I was like, fun spots is always just sort of good. Roman doing some Superman punches over here the whole time. I was like, fine, cool, whatever. Anyway, Cross beating Sammy, I was like, I feel like we sort of knew that where that was going to go. It just really kind of one of the things, and you'll see with a lot of these, especially day one was kind of like, okay, what's next? Because what it really kind of like, what is next for Cross and what's next for Sammy? Because Sammy is like, okay, I feel like they're going to be trying to do some type of push for him to get. I was like, he still is in that I need a championship type of mode, but it's like, what do we do? Especially now that Seth got the championship, do we get to that before the Rumble? That will, it seemed like a long time between there. So I was like, he does have somewhere to go. It's just gonna just be like, what is the next thing to have super genuine guy go after? Cross on the other hand, I was like, he could still be annoying, devil on your shoulder type of person to a whole bunch of people, but it's almost kind of like how, but those characters always wane after a time when they don't get any wins, because it's like, oh, okay, you're just being an annoyance. I can ignore you because there isn't any fruit to your pudding. So that's more of the thing with him, and I was like, I know the whole thing with his contract and stuff like that, but whatever. It's really just more just like, is there anything he could do that keeps his character going? Because now he's actually in match. It worked before because it was always annoying other people, making other people do what they want him to do and stuff like that without him, with him just putting the C's there. He didn't have to fight any matches, and if he did, it would just be like a one off here with AJ, Xavier Woods here and there. But the focus was on them, not really Cross. Now it's like Cross is here. It's like, does he get anything to do next? What would he get involved with? I think it's just open to where he might just go back to the wayside, to the background, that kind of thing. With Sammy doesn't necessarily. I don't think Sammy needs to win. I think if Sammy would have lost, it would have just helped his story more, but it would have gave Cross that little extra that don't really have now. So that is what it is. Speaking of what is the next move, is Jay losing to Tiffany, which I feel like is really surprising, and it's more so. And I was like, I've seen people online try to debate. I thought all the reasoning was dumb. Where it's like she's not ready yet, or I was like, she's a boring character and all this other stuff. And like, then why have her get all the way here? Now you could say maybe there's something with Naomi. I mean, with Bianca later. There was no Naomi here. So she just lost clean to Tiffany, which I'm like, Tiffany, who is also sort of to me just like a character. Don't get me wrong, she doesn't have a lot of good matches since winning the title. I really think that Nia, Trish, and stuff like that, but she's sort of just like a character. I even think that her match with Charlotte was like fairly good. But to say that Jay not ready, where it's like she beat Asuka, she went through the tournament. I was like, again, because she did it last year as well too. that what is the story, because there's not like they're building up a story of like she gets so close and she loses the big one, nothing like that. This is really her first really like, or if you want to say last year Queen of the Ring and this one here, and she's also won the tag titles. You've been building her up just to have her lose quickly and just like clean. That is kind of like, I like to me this is one of the ones where it's like, what, like, kind of like, unlike Cross, you was building her up to something. You having her beat all these people. You was having her beat Naomi, who is the champion over here. I think at this point I'm just like, yeah, like I was like, I'm not saying that it's like over, because you can always save people and stuff like that. All it takes is one storyline, one thing, like. But she had the storyline and she had the feud. She won the feud with Naomi. The storyline is still with Bianca, so you can still sort of tell that. But what is the point that if, like, I've seen people being like, oh, the storyline is for her to like face Bianca, and I was like, so Bianca beats Tiffany for the championship, say at some point. She beats Bianca, but she can't beat Tiffany. That doesn't make any sense, especially when Bianca has better credentials than Tiffany. So I was like, I think at this moment, I don't know what you do with Jade. I don't know what any stock she has in anything that she does and say now. Like, and also for Queen of the Ring, I think this is the second time that we already have a loser here. You know, like, to me, this is almost like Money in the Bank, where it's like, no, I think these people should win these matches. I was like, we haven't built up long enough for this to be a situation where this person loses. I mean, like, especially on the women's side. To leave with the men's side, they have people in there that's like, if they lose, it's fine. Like, if Jey Uso losing, okay, cool. If Sammy loses, okay, cool. It doesn't really harm them like that in that type of way. Maybe then other like fans getting like upset. With the women, I was like, it hadn't been long enough for I feel like there to be a failed situation. There's a reason why there hadn't really been like a failed cash in really on the women's side, because it hadn't built up a long enough longevity as like where you're over here trying to make these people into something more. But sticking to the women, Flair and Bliss won their match, and I was like, I thought this could go either way with Roxanne Perez or them, just because they both have storylines that I feel like a win or a loss just enhances them. I was like, I don't think it's any bad side for this. Kind of like Roxanne Perez, if they won, then they keep on winning. They still got the titles, lives at home. You build that whole thing up. With the loss, guess what? Now it just kind of looks like, oh, did you lose? Liv gets to come back and be like, you lost my tag team title. So they still got a storyline there. Flair and Charlotte, if they lost, they can just be like, hey, it's all right, buddy. I got your back. And they can still have the little lovey-dovey friend affair thing. Winning, I was like, hey, that's cool. That just cements them just being more friends and stuff like that. I thought it was a win-win situation, no matter who came out with this one. And it was a fairly good match as well, too. With basically seeming like, oh, snap, she hit Charlotte in the face. What is going to happen? They still was like, nah, I still got your back, buddy. Because I was like, we're here. We're like this. So I was like, that one worked out. And I was like, that was a fairly good match. The Jelly Roll, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton thing, it was cool. I was like, they let Jelly Roll get a whole bunch of attention time, which I was like, the match is really for him. Let's be honest. I am surprised that Drew and Logan came out to win. That's what I was hoping for, to be honest, just because I was hoping for it, but I thought Randy and them were going to win because it's Randy or whatever. Jelly Roll's the celebrity here. They normally let the celebrities win. But I like this one. But Jelly Roll also has been ingrained in the WWE to where it's like he's been around a lot more. He did music for WWE that I think he's ingrained in the way where it's like you're willing to, like, he can eat a loss because now he's sort of he's a little bit more accepted into the WWE community from a celebrity standpoint. You get what I'm saying? And he's been around enough that I was like, it's not like Bad Bunny. It's only going to be here like 2 or 3 times that you're like, oh, let's get him to pop. Let's get him to win. It's fine or whatever. Plus, this Jelly Roll loss would just make some of his more music even more painful or some shit like that. Yes, but I'm glad on Drew and Logan's side. I think Logan was doing a lot. I was like a lot of selling, but and his frog splash crazy. But I do like the fact that Logan and Drew won, but also with Logan's side of being like, this ain't that easy. I told you, bro. Like, I think that one's set. And then last but not least of night one, I was like, pretty sure that's night one, of Punk and Seth Rollins Gunther. I am not fully surprised that Punk won. I was like, I really thought that because I was like, look, everybody talk about the predictability of like Seth Rollins coming and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, I was like, it was so predictable. We all knew he was showing up here, and I was like, listen, I don't feel like that's fully true. I was like, we knew it was a possibility that this might be a work, but guess what? Basically, he was going to only show up in like 4 spots. And I was like, so you saying predictability? I was like, it was all predictable. If it wasn't here, then he would maybe show him at War Games, depending on who's in the War Games match. He would definitely have shown up at the Royal Rumble. He would have showed up probably as like a mystery contestant or something like that in Elimination Chamber, and he would have definitely have cashed in at WrestleMania. That's why I said this. I was like, when everybody's like, oh, like it's predictable, we all seen it coming. Like, oh, that's why it didn't catch me. I was like, you thought he wasn't gonna do this on some random Raw in the middle of October. No, it was going to be one of the pay-per-views. So that's why I'm like, it was predictable that if he's going to show up, it's going to be at a big spot. He's not showing up on no rinky-dink ass show. So from there, but whatever. I was like, the match with Gunther and CM Punk was really good. I was like, Punk really was the optimistic type of person here because Gunther was really beating his ass for the most part. And his hubris basically got the best of him because he's over here mocking. And I think it's funny that the old nod to basically how Punk did Drew with his short title reign. The same thing with here with Rollins. I know everybody's like leave. Why don't he leave or whatever? And I like fun as far as jokes is. I was like, that's funny. Like he should have left. I really think that because I heard like basically that Braun got hurt in the Roman Reigns match, and I really think the way that was set up is that Braun was going to beat up Punk. Because the way that Punk, like how everybody's like, he just standing there. I feel like he would just like, it was good of Seth Rollins to do his whole little thing because it did come out like he's like you gonna have to worry about me all the time. And I kind of wanted to just see if he was actually hurt, could he still get the championship and not vacate it just because he did win it or something like that, some kind of rule or whatever like that. But anyway, he did. I was like, he did the whole thing throughout the crutches and stuff like that. Was good to go. But the way that Punk was sort of like looking, and I was like, you could say that's like a heady play. But I felt like when there was the reveal of Seth, I was like they already know that Braun wasn't gonna come out there. But I feel like that extra amount of time was because Braun was supposed to come out there and beat his ass, and then Seth was gonna come in there and do some stuff. It just felt like it was way too long, even for the length of whatever Seth was doing up there. You get what I'm saying? That's why I think it is sort of funny. Like, just leave. Why don't you just leave? Because he was there so long, it kind of got a little awkward or whatever. But I was like, I guess it's cool. I was like, I mean, could it be? Now I was like, now you can say the execution and all the other stuff they was doing, the predictability is like, I don't think it's the predictability. I think that was really like outside of him doing the stuff with the crutches and leg. There was really no like pop extra with it. It was just like, okay, he's gonna do a cash in. It was nothing else. But I was like, I do think it's really the timing of Punk gets a championship. He had a little cry face, and it gets taken away from him. I think that's really what it is. The thing I was like, if somebody wanted to nitpick was basically if Gunther would have won, would you have done that, or did you just cut it with Punk that you did it, or whatever, or it's like you're not 100% healthy, but cut it with Punk. He was like, nah, I'm good enough in order to execute this plan to make it like ruin it for him. But I was like, but we're not the writers, so it don't matter. Anyway, going to the better of the nights, night 2. There was really, I was like, except for one. I'm gonna just get to it. The solo for the Jacob Fatu match was poop. That's what it was. It wasn't nothing about it. Like it was. I was like, I don't even think that's cause I was like, I give Solo a little bit more credit than I think most people. Like his character work is good, but like his matches, I know some people have said like it's boring and stuff like that, and I was like, I don't think so. I was like, I thought his cage match with Cody last year was really good. I thought his match with Cody was good last year, and of course like his match with Roman and stuff. But no, I was like, his SummerSlam one was alright. But I was like, but it's sort of with solo. I'm not gonna lie, this is sort of with solo matches. And to be honest, Jacob Fatu matches is really also kind of a little like he brings a lot more. He brings it a lot more alive than actually what he's doing. But this was not it. There was nothing here from either parties. I was like the whole thing with the handcuff was even kind of lame. Like Jimmy Uso, I was like, nah, there was nothing here. They didn't really use the. I was like, they used the cage, and the thing is, the cage matches are really, to me, only good if it's warranted, and by that I mean, I think Cody won last year, warranted. Becky Trish Stratus won, cool. I was like, I think Priest and McIntyre worked until the ending. Uh, Seth and CM Punk, yes, because I was like, I think if you have two people in there and they're not, and it's like we're not gonna leave, you just can't. Like I think if that's the principle behind it, then it could be a dope match. But I think when it is just kind of like I'm gonna just leave at the door, I'm gonna just climb, I'm kind of gonna half-ass fight. Then I think it's losing luster. Plus, they weren't really doing anything that's even like to I feel like what they do. I think that they should have just made that one. They couldn't because the rest of the matches were also nothing but like TLC. No, I was like no disqualification, all this other stuff. But nah, not really with this one. I was like it wasn't there. But speaking of good matches, I was like the triple threat of Naomi and Io and Rhea was really good, really executed really well. I was like, you keep Rhea from almost getting EO pinned. Doesn't matter. You get Naomi being a heel but smart. Just like how she got, I like how like she's been smart with how she got the pin on Rhea here of like her execution to getting the cash in and stuff like that. I was like, she's not just being I was like, she's being a heel, but it's also, but it works and everything like that. I'm glad that they came out with Naomi with this one. I figured they would because I was like, I feel like this wasn't going to be a short title reign. Plus, I was like, one, because you need a bad guy for Stephanie McMahon and Paris, but also EO just had it for a while. I was like, they're not ready to give it to Rhea yet, but you know that's where they're going to go. So I was like, as of right now, and I was like, you see Rhea and EO got like a little buddy thing going on. So they need a foil, and Naomi is the best one that they have. There's really no other bad guys or whatever you want to display them for them to fight. So Naomi is going to have this title for quite a while. To be honest, I would not be surprised if it wouldn't be Naomi and Rhea just straight up at some point, or if they do single matches with both of them at some point. To be honest, where it's like, cause you can run it, cause you done did two triple threat. I mean, well, you did one triple threat, but now you can do each one single, and Rhea's going to be the one to get the championship back. That's what they're really paying for, in this situation. But I do like the aggressive nature and everybody doing like all their moves, and all their moves was in unison of like the knees, the kicks, and stuff like that. They were really on point in there. I was like in their match. Speaking of Becky and Lyra, I think I didn't like the Bayley portion of it, to be honest, because it was just kind of like, unless Bayley would have hit Lyra. If Bayley would have hit Lyra, then I would have been down with it, because maybe she still have something with Becky. They could have still fought, but if she would have hit Lyra, I would have also felt good about. I would have felt good about it. Where it's like, cool, everybody just sort of. I was like Bayley and Becky just sort of like Becky's obviously bad. Bayley mixed or whatever. But I would have liked that a lot better than they just started throwing hands. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Which they're probably gonna get to their own thing now. Lyra's not can compete for the championship. But I did like the spot with the chair where like Becky just jumped up and just slammed on her with the chair around her chest. I was like, it was funny with the zip tie because it was working. Then Lyra got her hand loose. They even said on commentary that she's like, she seemed like somebody that got captured and was like, you know what? He kind of cute. I'm gonna stay here, and just like decided to stay with him or whatever. Also using the utility box as well too, because I was like, most of the time they dodge that type of throw. Yeah, but I was like really good match. We'll see what's next with Lyra. Like, Not anytime soon, but get propelled to basically the heavyweight. I mean, to the women's main championship. Because once again, I was like, while you hold off on Io and Bria, you still gonna need somebody for Naomi to face. That is on the face side. Um, yeah. So I was like, that match. I was like, I just didn't like the Bailey part, but that's also just me in this instance. But I get it. They're going to probably keep that one going. The Dom and AJ one, these are the matches that I'm like, I feel like we miss a lot, because now everybody's just like, I'm a tough guy, I'm the best wrestler, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm like, it works over at the other company. You could do that, which they do have fun in their stuff. But I was like, WWE a lot of times to me don't do enough of this type of stuff. I was like, where it's funny, but it could be a competent match, and that's what this was. Where it was AJ coming out with the lowrider, the Eddie Guerrero pants. I was like, him doing the shaking, which he could not do. He was buff as hell. Them trying to do the cheating thing that Eddie used to do, where they both was over here acting like it. I was like, I thought I was like from Dom taking his shoe off so that he couldn't get the like how Eddie did for Kurt Angle. I was like that. I was like, all of it was good, and Dom needed to keep the championship. I was like, I want to see if they do something else with AJ, which I was like, we're not gonna get the Cena thing. Maybe he goes to do something TNA. But I was like, he could be in bigger program. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I was like, now that Seth Rollins is a champion, hey, he gonna need some people to face. Also, he can't face Cody because he already did that, and that's not gonna work. So yeah, I was like, so maybe he could start face. He could do some stuff with Seth for a good while as well too. But good match. And the biggest, I was like, I'm gonna say a little left tonight, but anyway, that was a lot of rumbling. The TLC match for the tag team title. I was like, was it the best match? I was like, I think I want to get that to the women's triple threat. I think that was probably the best match. But the most fun match was probably this one, where it was fast, hard hitting, chaos over here. When they did all the table spots on like every side of the ring, where it was just, and it was like, or Montez Ford flying over and stuff like that, where it was like, I was over here like, yo, if one of their legs hit this angle wrong, they leg is hitting that barricade and it's a wrap. And they were able to avoid all that. From Candace over here getting broken in half from the ladder, where they actually had people checking on it, to the point that I was like, I know this might be a thing, but they've been over there a long time with just her around it. It seems like it's a little extra or whatever. The women coming out, that was clunky because neither one of them was underneath the ladder. I mean, underneath the titles. But hey, I was like, still fun. They could have did a couple more spots. But I was like, from Ciampa picking himself up because I was like, Fraxium was I'm like, nah, that's the tag team name. But you get what I'm saying. Was trying to like recreate the old TLC match of the spear up there and him just holding up there. I was like, everything was fun. I was like, I didn't necessarily like the rest of the Wyatts getting in. I just thought that's clunky. But I was like, since they're not what we thought they were going to be, I guess it's whatever now. It did get convoluted when they all was just so. I mean, hey, they all could jump up here and get the titles, I guess. But it was a little bit convoluted to them. I was like, the women, I didn't mind that bad because I was like, I knew they would just take each other out. And it's just like they're just gonna fight. It's not like they were gonna do anything to the guys. I was like, the Ciampa and the Gargano going to them tables on the far side. It was a car wreck. It was crazy. Probably I was like, it's easily the one of the best 3 matches of the night. Which I guess I'll go to what I feel like. I guess I might give it probably. Is it a third? It was like, it's somewhere in the top 5, I guess, of all the matches. But I was like, the Cody Rhodes Cena match, I thought as time went on, it got better. And they played around and had fun with it as well, too, that I think, I was like, with John Cena you can do, but like I said, it's sort of important in some of these matches, like, hey, like this, and especially because this wasn't heel Cena, so you could play around with it more. Like when he came up through the little Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes pod with him on top. It was like Cody Rhodes taking the whole turnbuckle off. Them just doing countless of their finishers and kicking out the table matches and stuff like that. I thought that the match went better as time went on, and Cody Rhodes got there. I was like, they made it at least seem like John Cena was going to make it out with the championship, and I think that while a lot of us thought that Cody Rhodes was going to get the win here, it was important for us to be like, well, I mean, John Cena's he might make it. He didn't, but the only qualm I have is that I was like, I get it because he don't went back to his good roots. Is that he should have kicked him in the dick just because I was like, that's been his thing or whatever. But let's get to the main thing. The main thing being the main thing. Brock Lesnar return. And I know with some people, hey, this is going to be one of the things of like the artist versus the art kind of thing for some people. And then some people are just going to be able to, and some people like just going to be able to see as Brock Lesnar in WWE. And I've talked about it before in a video that I think it's weird that before, especially all the stuff came out with allegations or whatever that it was that with the MMA stuff, that people was like, I get something. I was like, I'm not one of the people, but I was like, I get how you could be over Brock Lesnar. But it was crazy to me that people didn't want him back or didn't think that he could, or what he'll be able to do underneath Triple H. And I was like, why, when everybody else that has came back underneath Triple H seem to make amends or be able to buy into whatever Triple H is doing? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, why wouldn't Brock coming back be able to let's see how he works in new conditions underneath a new thing that where it's like he's not going to get everything he wants, just like how Vince gave it to him. So let's see how he works in his conditions where it's like you don't have all the blondes that you want. But he comes out to the roar, to the pop. Of course, is going to do big. And he basically lays out John Cena. And he laid out John Cena like in the same way when he came back last time. So, I mean, not lay him out, but you get what I'm saying. Like, that's what they were reenacting. The thing is that, I sort of got spoiled about Brock Lesnar a bit. I was on delay and stuff. So, my initial thought was like, oh man, he gonna face Cody again? Oh man, how this gonna go? How is he just gonna show up, pop out? But since it was John Cena, it is a little bit more perplexing because now that if John Cena would have kept the title, I would have been like, I get it. Without the title, I don't really get it. I'm not mad at Brock being back or nothing like that as far as like what they're gonna do with him story wise. But I'm just like, what if this go like it? Which really makes me think, because I was like, they got the Clash at Paris, Perth. I think that is really for a crown jewel show. I mean, a crown, one of them Saudi Arabia shows. That's what I'm thinking about here. Brock Lesnar being a big, because I'm like, he faces John Cena. I'm like, well, what does this do for John Cena now he don't have the title? What's the point of this? Now, what I thought or what I wanted to happen, especially once I heard that it was Brock before I got to actually see it, but even once I did, what I was hoping for was John Cena at the end of the match. It's just him there, either there or Cody's there as well too. The Rock comes out and he does instead of two, he got the one. He brings out Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar is his guy to basically be like, John Cena, you failed me. Cody Rhodes, you still ain't understanding this assignment. Takes them both out or something like that. That's what I was thinking. And I was like, to me, that could have worked. This, up in the air. But, we'll see because also, maybe Gunther gets his match against, he done already got it. I was like, got the match against Goldberg, retired his ass. Maybe he gonna get Brock Lesnar, retire his ass as well too. Maybe that's what it'll be. Cause I was like, you gotta think that John Cena only got so many events left that it's like, do you want to use it on a full-on Brock? And if you brought Brock back, I feel like there's a certain amount of time that you're using him for. So hey, gotta get it back in. But it's like, and I don't think you want to put him. He done already faced Cody. There's really not for. He done faced Seth a couple times too. So it's like there's really no point of him having him being in the main event. And I don't know if he really wants to put him in the main event anymore, unless they do something also with like Drew, like get that win back as far as like when he won the title. I was like, because I was like, he didn't. I was like, yeah, because he beat Brock for the title. So maybe they wanted to do something like that. And I was like, did he get to do it in front of people? No, I don't think he got to do it in front of people. Anyway, that's all I'm thinking. We'll see how this all goes. We'll see how it all ends. Anyway, that's just some takeaways, some thoughts from SummerSlam double night event. We're just gonna sign off. John Cena.